Hello and welcome back. Make sure you subscribe, comment, and share. I've been getting a lot of questions about how to transfer my digital files to a canvas, and this is pretty easy to do, and we're going to go ahead and learn that today. I'm using my color erase pencil, my graphite pencil. Look at it, bitty and small. Don't worry about that, I got new ones. And my Posca marker, which is an acrylic paint marker you can use. Many people use Sharpies, that's up to you, but for me, I personally use the Posca markers. I'm using an 8x10 canvas panel. Get that from any local craft store, Michael's, Hobby Lobby. I went ahead and printed out my photo. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my graphite pencil and I'm going to mark up the back where all the lines are. I do not want to go ahead and mark up the whole entire back. That's wasting time and that's going to get really messy when you have to transfer it over to your canvas. So just try to do the lines only as best as you can, and the best way you can see it is by putting it on a white surface. And then for my case, I have a white table, so you can clearly see all the lines. So I'm going to just scratch it up. You don't have to go too hard. It's a graphite pencil, so it's easily transferred. I'm going to go ahead and place it on top of my canvas. Now when placing on top of your canvas, just make sure you check like 1, 2, maybe even 3 times that is positioned correctly. And you're going to learn in this video why that's very important. I'm going to go along my lines with my red pencil. It's a color erase pencil. It does have an eraser, but I usually use these to like sketch in my sketchbook and whatnot. So I really like these. They don't really smear and they don't really stain. Be sure to get every detail, and usually if you're doing like a wholesale canvas transfer, if you're doing like a paint party, what happens is you tend to lose where you are in the lines. So just always have like, I guess, the same starting point. Me, since I drew this, I usually want to always start from like different points because I get bored of doing it over and over again. I just doing this 20-25 times. So here I made a mistake and I put it too high and her head is cut off. So now I have to go ahead and erase it. And I use one of these little art erasers. I forget what it's called. I'll probably put it down below in the description. But it erases really, really well. So we're gonna go ahead and try this again. And this time it should be better. So there we go. Much better. So here's my Posca marker. I'm using the very tiny fine tip size, and these you have to be very careful because they have that plastic edge. They don't have that felt tip like the bigger ones do, so it tends to go against the canvas and like tends to flick off paint. You have to be very careful, and you don't have to do it really, really heavy or anything. Just go ahead and line it, and then once you line it the first time, you can go back and continue like lining it for a second layer. But you want to be very careful with these because they do tend to get a little messy because of that plastic tip. And since these lines are so small, which is the reason why I used the small one in the first place. It's a nice little fine liner. Before, what would happen is, before I realized that I have a printer, I can just print these out, I would literally just trace it off my iPad and then sketch it onto the canvas and then put the Posca marker. It was just a mess, and it was like I was basically doing double and sometimes even triple the work when really I can just print it and then transfer it. So this is the easiest way. And this is one method. In another video I can show a different method of how you can transfer to canvas, especially larger canvases, because there's no way you're going to transfer and be able to print large scale digital files onto a large canvas. So there's definitely another method you can use that I will show you. This is an order I got from my Etsy shop, and I decided to make a video about it. So, and I hope it really helps because I've been getting a lot of questions on how to transfer. Now, if it's your first time doing this, you're gonna run into mistakes. So don't worry about running into mistakes. I mean, it's your first time, and if you're using a permanent marker, a lot of people use those. So if you're a beginner, I would use a permanent marker because of that felt tip. But since I'm used to these, I really like these, and they give really good quality onto the canvas when you transfer. It's perfect. Here she is. Now, if I did make any mistakes, I go ahead and erase the graphite that's left, that's showing through the marked up marker part. So I go ahead and erase that, and then I use a gesso. I'm not using white paint, but I'm using gesso. It's usually a layer between the paint and the canvas that you can put onto, and then it actually covers up the little paint mistakes that I make. And I'm going ahead and letting it dry, and I went ahead and erased whatever else was left on the canvas, making sure this is supposed to be a professional job. So if I'm sending it out as an order, I want it to look as great as possible, even if they're gonna make mistakes or go over lines. As for me, I want it to be presentable, so it has to be really nice, clean, and crisp. So I don't want to make too many mistakes or go ahead and send it out with too many mistakes. I want it to be very nice when she opens it. And then I'm going over it with some more gesso again. I'm being extra meticulous because these are thinner lines also. So since they're thinner lines, it makes the mistakes more obvious instead of usually have like the thicker ones that I use. We're going to go over to our paint portion. It is an art kit, so I do provide paint pots. And you can get these paint pots on Amazon, Alibaba, and Michaels. These particular ones I got from Michaels, so they're kind of bigger than they should be. It is an 8x10, so they don't need too much paint. So usually I pipe these if I have like a wholesale order. But what I do is I'm just going to go straight from the tube to the pot. I'm using Amsterdam paints. You can always still use the Americana paints. These are my personal paints that I use to actually put them in. So, I mean, if I run out of those, then I can always use the Americana ones. For the deco art, the little small ones that everyone uses, the little tubes, those are great. If paint is based on, it's not really how cheap the paint is, it's how you can adjust to using it. Sometimes paint needs layers and layers and layers. So I'm not putting a lot of gold because it's very little embellishments of gold. And of course I'm going to put plenty of red and plenty of black, because those are my main colors. And then I'm going to do is I'm going to use 2 different skin tones. When I send out my art kit orders, I'm not entirely sure what skin tone they want. So what I do is I give them like a medium to dark skin tone and like a lighter to medium skin tone. And if they want to make it darker, they can always, in certain, I wouldn't do it, but if they want to make it darker, they can add a little slight black, or if they want to make it lighter, they can always add a little slight white or pink, and add into that mixture. So I always provide the 2 main colors, white and black. You always want to provide those in whatever colors that the painting may need. But totally up to you and totally up to what they ask for as well. They get up to 6 colors. So I'm mixing like my dark browns, like my burnt sienna and my burnt umber, putting together, and I already put the Naples yellow and burnt sienna and burnt umber. Now I'm not that great at mixing browns. They're like for me, I'm very picky on them. So I actually buy them pre-made instead of mixing them with like a red, blue, yellow. I know people do that, but I don't think it looks right when I mix them. So I decided to buy them brown. And I'm making this one a little darker. It looks more burnt sienna than anything. And if you want to learn about paints and paint mixing, I can teach you that, and you can go ahead and subscribe, and then that way you can come back and look forward to more. So you can see, I filled up the paint pots because they're a little dingy and thin before, so they're filled up now. And I'm gonna do it. What I do is, since I'm shipping this out, I'm gonna go ahead and attach it to the back and put tape on it so it fills up and tags up to the front. So that way, when they get the painting and they open it, they see that there's something in the back, and that's where the paint pots are. I secure those with tape. This is pretty much just masking tape, nothing too fancy. And of course, the paintbrushes can't go on the same side, so what I do is I go ahead and tape those by themselves, and then I go ahead and tape down the brushes. And they usually come with like 2 brushes, a tiny one and like a small medium one, and it really depends on the size of the canvas. And I have my bubble wrap. I'm gonna go ahead and secure it. Usually I do not have an issue with putting bubble wrap and craft paper and sending it out. Everything turns out fine. USPS, I usually send it through, and if they need it in an emergency or faster and they need it right away, and I want to make sure it's going to get to them on time, I send it through FedEx, and they usually require a box. But most of the time, if I'm sending these out, I'm not sending them out in a box. I'm sending out with the bubble wrap and the craft paper, and usually not a problem. Thank God. And there's usually not an issue, and if there is an issue, I just send it out another one. It's not a huge deal. But if anything does happen, it does have insurance on it, so they do cover that. I'm going to go ahead and secure it and make sure everything is tight, even the bubble wrap. And there she is, going far away to her new home. And if you're really unsure about it being secure, I probably just put it in a box. And this is a great gift. Like, you can do this yourself, you can send it to others. I also do custom ones where people want like their own picture on a canvas, and they want me to go ahead and have that sent to a loved one and gift wrap it. I mean, they're awesome gifts. I know this one lady that comes to me and she's like, oh, I want to do one for my sister or whatnot. And I do a lot of them, and I do want to do more and show you guys more drawings, and I actually want to do paint some of them too, because I haven't even painted my own outline yet, and people are so interested in them, and maybe I'll do like a little paint with me. We can paint one of these outlines together. But that's all coming soon, and go ahead and subscribe if you want. Comment and let me know what you want to see, because I'm here to provide it. And I tape that down really nice. Make sure every little fling of paper taped down so it's not hanging around or doesn't caught anything. Just giving you USPS no excuse as to why my package doesn't look like the way I sent it out. And I sealed it with a sticker. Thank you for shopping. And here it is. The art kit, if you're casing wondering what it was going to look like. It looks great. It looks professional. Subscribe for more.